sit up nice and tall. So you want to feel firm with the base, holding the hips in, stabilizing the way the legs feel and grounding through the legs into earth. You're going to poke the buttock bones into the blankets or the floor. And then from that grounding of the legs, sit up really tall through the trunk, through the spine. Pull your belly back a little, your lower vertebrae in a little bit, like a narrowing across the waist. And breathe. Keep drawing energy up the spine. Go ahead and close your eyes, broaden across your collarbones. And then bring your hands in prayer. And everything again. So the legs firm, grounding to earth, drawing your lower vertebrae in, belly back, and really lifting energy up through the spine. Broadening collarbones. Relax your face, relax your eyes. Go inward to breath and touch the breath in the chest, front, side, and back. Feel the complete breath, complete inhale, and the complete exhale. Let's say one Om when you're ready. Inhale. Lower your head, lower your hands. Continue to feel the breath. And then raise your head up and open up your eyes. And now let's stretch the legs out and the feet. So from the backs of your legs, from the buttock bones to your heels, stretch and then stretch across your feet. Reach up with your arms if you can. Pull your abs back a little bit. Even look up slightly. Energy up, breathing, and then out with the arms. Good. Okay, so let's stand on up. So move your blankets, and I'll move the screen a little bit so you could see better. And then stand in Tadasana. Extend the collarbones, thighs back, hamstrings forward. Breathe, and then out with the two arms at shoulder height. And take your thighs back again. Put your feet right together. So let's go into a classic Tadasana with the feet, inner feet right together. And abs back a little bit, thighs back, triceps firm. Energy is out with the arms. And then turn your hands up and your upper arms also turn. And then reach up if you can, just shoulder distance with the hands. And so, you know, if you can't do that, you could remain out. Take your thighs back. Stretch your fingers. Separate the fingers and stretch the webbings of the fingers. Look up a little bit with your heart and let that take the gaze slightly up. Keep breathing and then bring your hands forward, your head neutral, and then reach out with your arms. Pause at the shoulder height. Lift your chest and then lower your arms down at your sides, but open your collarbones and stretch your arms. Good. Okay, so separate slightly your feet and take your hands behind your back. If you can, clasp your hands, and if you can't do that, you can grab fingers. Bend your elbows a little bit and try to touch your elbows towards each other behind your back so you feel your collarbones really open. Make sure you're breathing. And then relax that and just change the index finger positioning behind your back. So you just do the second one. Bend your elbows and try to bring your elbows closer. Make sure you're breathing. And then separate your arms out and bring your feet together again. And then bring your arms straight forward thighs back, and then arms up. Breathing, turn your hands out and reach out with your arms. Reach out with the energy across your chest. And then lower your arms. Good. And take just your right arm up. Bend it and bring your fingertips towards your shoulder blades. And then reach it back up and lower it. Stretch it when it's down and open that collarbone. And then reach the left arm up. Bend it, reach for your shoulder blades. And then lift the arm and lower it, but stretch that collarbone open. Reach the right arm up again. Bend it, touch for shoulder blades. And now this time, your lower hand, see if you can bend it across your back waist and slide it towards the upper hand. It doesn't have to touch, just sort of point fingers towards each other. And then straighten both arms. One goes down, one goes up. And then lower the upper arm. Reach the left arm up, bend it for shoulder blades. Now the right hand across the back waist and sliding fingers up. So two hands kind of pointing towards each other. And then straighten both arms. One is down, one is up. And then lower the upper arm. Good. Okay, so I'm going to turn sideways. You don't need to turn. You're going to have your feet apart, hips distance or wider. Bend the two legs and fold forward into a very resting Uttanasana. So have your legs bent. Continue to breathe. You could put your fingertips on the floor. You could hold your elbows or your forearms, whatever feels the most reasonable for you. But continue to breathe. Soften your belly, soften your ribs. And then breathing, keeping the knees bent, round yourself back up to stand. Straighten your legs, reach your arms out and then up. Inhale. Exhale, take your arms out, bend your knees and come back down with your ribs lightly touching floor with fingers. Keep breathing and keeping the knees bent. And then keeping legs bent, start rising, reach your arms out. Inhale, straighten your legs, reach up. And then exhale, reach your arms out and down. Good, okay, so just, breathe and get your balance. And so watch for just a sec, and then we're gonna go back over in that folded position, but you're going to see if you could get your arms behind you this time. So I'm gonna bend my legs, hips distance now, because it's a little more stable. And when I go over, you wanna see if you can bring your arms overhead a little bit. So let's go ahead and start clasp hands. Have feet hips distance, bend knees, breathe. Come over and just see if you could let your arms go overhead. Yeah, like that. Keep breathing. That's it. And then keeping your legs bent, come back on up. And then change the interlock of your fingers. And then go again when you're ready. So just knees are bent, head comes down, arms go over. Try to bring your arms away from your back. Good. Breathing. And then up you come. Good. All right. Go ahead and just stand in Tadasana. And then bring your hands onto your hips, elbows back, step out nice and wide. Okay, in this wide position, you want to feel that the outer legs are hugging in, inner legs are pushing out, so there's a tension, a strength in the legs, and then reach the arms out. Separate your fingers and stretch the webbings. Turn your hands up and reach your arms up. Outer legs hug in, and then reach your arms out, hands to hips, and now walk back on in with your 2 feet, 2 legs. I apologize, the gardener's here. I usually ask him to wait until I'm done teaching, but I'm just gonna let him finish. So sorry about that. Go ahead and step back out wide. And then your whole right leg, turn it out and turn your right foot out. Good, tighten the outer legs in, reach out with the arms. Strengthen your arms, tighten the triceps to the bone and begin going to the right, but just stretch your arms apart. Just stretch your arms apart. Stretch your arms and then come back at it. Good, and now let's bring the hands in and that right leg in. And then when you're ready, whole left leg turns out at the hip joint. Squeeze your outer legs in, stretch your arms, tighten the triceps, and go left, but stretch your arms. Focus on your arms, 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 and then come on up. Good, and then foot turns in, hands can come to hips, and let's walk back into Tadasana. Join the legs right together. And up with the two arms. Thighs back, abs back, triceps firm. Separate the fingers and stretch the webbings. And look up with your heart and then see if you could raise the gaze up a little bit. Keep breathing. And then turn your hands out, take them out, down. Good. Okay, I'm going to turn my back to you just so you can see. We're going to bring the right arm across and then see if we can reach that left one over. So when you're ready, bring your right arm across your back, and then start bending your left one and see if with your left fingers if you can reach around to the opposite elbow. Of course, just doing what your shoulders allow. Pull your belly back a little bit, tighten the fronts and backs of your thighs to the bone, and then change it. When you're ready, taking the left arm first and then reaching the right one and try to inch your right fingers a little further down the forearm of the left. Tighten the legs, backs of the thighs forward. Good. And then undo and stretch them out at your sides. Broaden the collarbones, flatten the shoulder blades. Good. Hands to waist, step out nice and wide. Just keep the 2 feet forward, tighten the backs of the thighs, fronts of the thighs, reach the arms out, triceps firm. Turn your palms up and reach up. Lift from your waist, outer legs are hugging in, energy is rising up. And then reach your palms forward, look up with your heart, and then level your head, reach out, arms and down. Hands to hips. Keep holding your hips in, so don't just sag in your legs. You want to get that active leg. And then we're going to turn from the right hip joint, the whole leg to the right, foot turns right. Squeeze your hips in. Stretch the 2 arms out. Don't think about turning your hips. Your hips will turn some, but don't initiate from hips. Initiate from rib cage and begin turning your rib cage to the right. You feel how your back hip just kind of follows you, but don't initiate from there. Initiate from left ribs. Good, keep breathing. Now, can you take your left hand, the one that's closest to the screen, can you take it and touch your left ribs? And then with your left hand, just push your left ribs a little bit more around. Keep pinning your hips in. Good, and then reach that arm back out and come back to face the front. You could turn your right foot so both feet are turning forward. And then your whole left leg from hip joint, turn it out, left foot follows. Do not initiate from hips. Keep the hips basically as they are for as long as you can, and we're gonna initiate from rib cage as we begin turning left. Breathing. So if you could, you would have your ribs all the way around facing your face and chest directly towards that left leg. But your right ribs are hanging back a little bit. So you could bring your right hand to that rib and turn right ribs a little bit more. There you go, good. Breathing. And then reach the arm out and come back to center, turning your left foot forward. And let's step back on in. Okay. Now either downward facing dog or uttanasana. So if you can't do dog pose, you know, of course you can do a resting uttanasana, but those that can, step on back into your downward facing dog. It's okay to bend the knees a little bit, of course, if you need to. Work to stretch the arms and hips up. Rest, of course, is needed. So those that can go right to a straight leg with the heels back and down do, and the others that work with the knees bent and the heels up, that's fine. Resting is needed. If you need to do an uttanasana or a child's pose, you're gonna have to work with your own rhythm, your own energy, seeking to find harmony with your breath, your body, so you're not overdoing. Good, and then child's pose, if that's available to you. Rest your arms. Rest your breath, rest your energy. Let yourself soften. And come to the back. So lay over onto your back. You could bend your legs as you're reclining. We're going to stretch the hamstrings a little bit, so go ahead and lay yourself down. And you can have your knees bent, just lay yourself down. And then draw your right knee into your chest and stretch the left leg on the ground. Breathe. And then change it and do the other side. And then put your feet on the floor with your legs bent. Catch the back of your right leg and stretch your right leg towards the ceiling. Make sure you're breathing. And then if it's available to you, the left leg can go out on the ground. Try to push the leg that's up into your hands and really straighten that knee joint, right knee joint. Make sure you're breathing though. Good. And then change it. So just bend and then catch the left leg, extend the left leg first and really try to straighten that left knee joint. And then it's optional to slide the right leg out. Make sure you're breathing. Try to push the left leg into your hands and really straighten that knee joint. Yeah. Good. Hug them both in to chest. And then just see if you could leave your left leg bent like this and your left forearm just kind of draped on it. And see if you can grab your right big toe with your right fingers. So your legs are basically still really bent. Yeah. And then just stretch your right leg up where it goes, and it may not straighten. Don't worry if it doesn't straighten. Those that it straightens, take your thigh bone away from your face. And if it's not straight, just be there. It's okay. And then let's just release that. And so both legs are bent. You're just kind of draping your arms over your shins. And then see if you can grab your left toe with left fingers. Make sure you're breathing and just go where it's available to you to stretch that left leg. And it might not straighten all the way, but those that it is straight, push the thigh away. And then bend them both back in. Now just set your left foot on the floor with the left leg bent. And really draw your right leg into your chest. Good. And then see if with your right hand, if you can reach for your right toe. And then see if you can stretch your right leg. And now if this is just like beyond intense, then you could of course put your hands on the back of your thigh instead, if you prefer. That's fine. Make sure you're breathing. So maybe like half of you are holding the toe and half of you have your hand at the back of your leg. That's fine. Good. Okay, so let's release right and set it down. And just leave your right leg bent, foot on floor, leg bent, and then draw your left one way in. And then try to grab your toe. And then try to stretch your leg. And you might stay there for a moment, and then if that's too much, you could put your hands on the back of your thigh, but try to stretch your left leg up. Try to stretch your left hamstring. That's it. All right, and then bend and put 2 feet to floor, straighten both legs out on the ground and push them down. Try to lower the backs of your thighs to the floor. Reach your arms over your head if that's okay with the shoulders. Allow your back to do as it does. Don't force your back down. Try to push your legs down. Keep breathing. Stretch your fingers. Gently pull the energy of your belly down. Good. And then bring your arms down, bend your knees, and let's roll over to sit up. So sit forward in Dandasana with the legs forward, and then if your low back is a little bit sore, or if your hamstrings are pretty tight, then you're going to grab a blanket and sit up. But otherwise, sit flat. So you could try it flat, and then if you need to adjust, you add your blanket. So then Dandasana first, just bringing your outer shins in, legs down, sit up nice and tall, reach the arms up. From your waist, pull the energy back and up, lift your heart, let the gaze rise slightly, keep breathing, and then reach out with your arms and down. Keep pushing your legs to the floor. And then bring your right knee to your chest. Hold it and sit up really tall. Let's gently revolve away from it, taking left hand behind. Sitting tall, breathing, and then keeping legs. Let's turn the other way. So legs stay the same, that's it. You don't have to twist far. And then come back in the middle. Now see if you could put your right knee to the side. And this is where some of us need to sit up or need to put a blanket underneath the knee, making sure your hip and knee are protected. Pull the energy from your waist back and up and reach up. Breathe, reach out. Good. Let's take an easy turn. We're going to turn to the bent leg side first. So right hand remains behind. Good. And then keeping legs come center, and we're going to revolve. Just a little bit. Be focused in your legs, the base stable, your breath. And then come on back and help with your hands that leg that's bent and take it out. And then when you're ready, bring your left leg up. Squeeze it, sit up tall. This is certainly easier to do if you're sitting on a blanket. So if you're starting to feel fatigued in your back, then you add that blanket underneath your hips. Good. Take your that's your right hand. Take your right hand behind you, and we're going to turn to the straight leg side first. Keeping legs, come back and revolve now to the bent leg side, breathing. And then come back in the center, and now take your leg Out to the side, that's your left knee bent to the side. Sit up tall, reach up, reach out. And we're gonna revolve to the bent leg side, left hand behind, gentle turn, face stable, legs stable, breath moving. Keeping legs, come back center and taking the opposite turn. Just the turn is light. Don't crank around, but stabilize your legs. Feel your breath. Good, and back to center and taking that leg out. Okay, so very mild wide legs with the knees bent. Take them out, just very mild. Really kind of, I guess you wouldn't call it a shallow pose, but just not a wide angle there. Good, okay. And then face, turn right, sit up tall. And then center and turn left. Two legs are down as you're doing this. Good, go back center and then turn right again. And so really pressing legs down. See if you can come forward over your right leg with long spine. Breathing. And then up and legs down, down as you turn and come forward over left. Breathing, long spine. And up. Okay, good. All right, so then right leg, bend it where it's a comfortable position for that hip and knee. Good, okay, slide left hand down on straight leg. Reach your right arm open. Breathing, turn your ribs to the right a little bit. Round the legs. Your bent leg is your right leg, the outer right thigh. Try to press it down. Good. And then come up. Let's just leave the legs for a moment. Gently turn to the bent leg side. Good. The legs go down. And then you're going to bring your hands forward. So I shift forward over my right leg a little bit, the bent leg. And then you could lower, I'm on my fingertips, you could lower your palms and begin to bend your elbows and curve your upper back. Curl your spine, but your straight leg stays heavy and you're breathing. Just like that, you guys, that's great. And then coming up, let's leave the legs for one more moment and slide the left hand down again, reach the right arm open, and then optional to come over more. Over the straight leg more if you like. Keep breathing. And then up you come. Well done. Okay, so let's change legs, carefully taking that bent leg out into a really mild, wide angle and bending the left into a comfortable position for hip and knee. The first is just to sit up nice and tall and really balance the buttock bones down, the weight of the legs down. And then when you're ready, that's your right hand. Slide down and open the left arm open. Try to turn your ribs to the left. Try to really roll your rib cage open and make sure you're breathing. The outer left thigh rolls down. So your weight is over your straight leg, but don't let it lift off of your bent leg completely. So you have to stabilize. Good. And then coming up and sit up, make sure you're breathing. And then revolve to the left. And you're going to start coming forward over the bent leg, but the straight leg continues to go down. You get your hands kind of out there, bending elbows. When you're ready, you can put your heel of your hand down and just curl. Your head doesn't need to touch your knee, that's fine, but just make your back curve. And then carefully rising, keeping your legs to the ground, and then when you're ready, reaching that right arm back out, and then optional to bend your lower arm and reach the upper arm over more. Make sure you're breathing. And then rising. And let's go to Dandasana, two legs straight forward. Squeeze the shins in, press the thighs down. When you're ready, inhale and sweep the arms up. Exhale and reach the arms out. Let's revolve gently to the right, right hand behind, long spine. Nice. Going center, inhale and sweep the arms up again. Exhale, reach the arms out, and then revolving on second side. Good. Shins together, long spine. Nice, you guys. All right, and then center, lay on your back and draw your knees in. So just rest your back for a moment on the floor with the two legs gently pulled into chest. Soften your belly, soften your chest. Try to relax your legs when they're in like this. Good. Now, I don't know if you can see this, but it's easy to do. So you're gonna just do some little tiny micro movements here. So I've got my hands on my legs and my legs are bent. And I'm just going like an inch to the right and an inch to the left with my legs. So just like little tiny micro movements. Try to relax your belly. And just go back and forth, let your knees and feet actually be apart in this. Let your knees and feet be slightly apart. Relax your belly and just go tiny bit to the right, tiny bit to the left. And then see if you can do little tiny circles to the right. And then little tiny circles to the left. Yeah, it's just like these little tiny micro movements. There you go. Good, okay, that's enough. And then put your feet down with your knees bent and try to get your heels kind of close to your buttocks. Shift your buttock bones towards the floor, letting your lower back lift. And then gently bring your waist down and let your tailbone rise. And then do that again where you shift the tailbone and buttock bones down and let your waist lift. And then bring your waist down and your tailbone up. Just a little rocking movement there in pelvis. Good, and then just neutral. And then arms, creep them under you like you could lay on your arms more and your spine will lift. And then see if you can lift your hips and pelvis up. Make sure you're breathing. So kind of a moderate Setu Bandha first, just an easy version, and then lower, sliding your arms out. Let your whole back come back down to the floor. And then if it's available to you, fold the legs crossed and rest them down in simple cross legs. Now that doesn't work on everyone, so of course you can modify, your legs might need to go out straight or one leg straight. And then change the fold of your legs. If it feels good to put your arms over your head, you can. Keep breathing. We're going to go back to Setu Bandha. Bring your arms down if they're overhead. Bending the knees, heels near buttocks. And then get your arms under you. If you can easily touch your heels, then touch the fingertips to the heels. Lift your hips this time. Once your hips are up, see if you can creep your arms in more and lift your back chest more. Your back ribs up, hips up, hamstrings up. Don't harden your neck, don't harden your jaw. And then lower yourself down, creeping your arms out. Let your heels walk out a little bit and lower your whole back to the ground. And then right heel over left knee, stretching that outer right hip a little bit, bringing your legs into chest, optional. If you like to grab the back of that left leg, kind of the back leg, and pull the legs in, you can. Notice your shoulders, notice your throat, your belly, relax where you can. And changing over other side. Good, and then undo it and straighten the two legs out on the ground, press the thighs down. Now we'll roll over to sit up. And I want you to sit in Virasana for a moment, so if you need loads of blankets, that's fine. You can take your bolster with lots of blankets on it, whatever you need to be able to sit in Virasana. And if you don't know Virasana, I'll just do it really quickly. I'm going to turn my back to the screen for a moment. My feet are apart and I'm sitting on blankets between my feet. And now I'll face you. So those blankets don't come in between my knees. My knees are close to one another. It's just my feet that are wide. And then I sit back. And of course, you make it high enough underneath your hips, between your feet, that blanket stack high enough so there's no strain on knees. And it's different day to day. So some days you just add blankets, blankets, blankets underneath the hips if you need. So then thighs, turn them out. Sit up nice and tall. And we're gonna do Gomukhasana arms again. So we did this standing up in the earlier part of the class. It's just a little different seated. See if you can bring your right arm up and really stretch it from your tricep and even feel like your lat is stretching up. From your waist, kind of firm back, poke your buttock bones down and see if you can just really reach that right arm up. And then bend it, and now keep the stretch on that tricep up to the elbow. Good, and where your right fingertips touch your back, feel where they are. Discerning intelligence in those right fingertips, right elbow rising. Good, now say you've just had a shoulder replacement and you need your rest, of course, you rest. But if you're okay here, then see if you can bring your left arm, turn your thumb and your palm back towards the wall behind you or whatever's behind you, and then bend it and reach that left finger, set of fingers, left hand up. Now this time, try to get, if you can, a little closer. So those of you that can touch the tips of the fingers, see if you can hook the fingers. And then begin pulling your belly and your waist back a little bit. So you're gonna kind of stretch the spine. Yeah. Breathing. Right elbow is up. Right tricep is up. All right, good job. And then undo it and let both of your arms come down, palms to the thighs. Open the collarbones. Thighs turn out. If you need to sit in Dandasana, if you need to undo your legs and sit in simple cross legs for Dandasana, that's absolutely fine. Do not strain your knees to do this. And then when you're ready, reaching the left arm up. Exaggerate it, even slightly leaning and really stretch the lat, the tricep, up, 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 up. And then bend it, but that's where you gotta still stretch up on the outer arm. Now your left fingers, grab your shirt and feel, where are those fingers? Can you walk them down? Can you grab anything there in between your shoulder blades and then still stretch up with the tricep? And then now we can do the bottom arm if that's available to you. The hand turns back and you reach it way across and then start sliding it up. And then those that can touch fingers, hook if you can. Now correct your spine a little bit because my belly went way forward when I was trying to get that upper arm up, but just see if you can make the energy on the front and back body a little bit more even. I know this is way easier if you can actually get your fingers. So those that are just reaching the fingers, it's harder. And then we're gonna lower the two arms and bring the hands to thighs. On the chest. Let's release the legs carefully, mindfully, and forward. If it's comfortable to cross ankles, you can, or you can sit one hip down and then slide the two legs out. You stretch the backs of your legs. Good, okay. So I'd like you to sit in any comfortable position. I'm gonna sit in cross legs up on my blanket, but any comfortable position for you. And then reach your right arm out and flex your palms so your fingers are up towards the ceiling. But try to really sit up tall and measure your collarbone and your shoulder blades so you're not rolling forward in this shoulder joint. Now your other hand, take it over and just let it drape across your head, and your left fingers will kind of get near your ear. Don't pull, but just gently weight your head to the left, so your left ear is gently falling towards left shoulder. Right arm is stretching away, and you're breathing. And then undo it and rest your arms down and let your head come back in neutral. And then stretch your left arm away, flex the palm so you're getting a stretch on your wrist. And for some of us, this is enough. We don't have to do the rest of it. If it's okay, bringing your left arm up, it just sort of drapes and your fingers touch your ear. And you don't pull, but you just let your head fall. And it's right ear towards right shoulder. Make sure you're breathing. And then releasing, 2 hands to legs. Good, okay. So either now, I'll just do it really fast. So either now downward dog again, or the version with your hands clasped and your elbows under your shoulders and forearms on ground. So either one, downward facing dog, or the version with your forearms down and hands clasped. You don't have to straighten your knees all the way. Just see what you can do to stretch your thighs back and make sure your shoulders are okay in the version that you're in. Good. Great. And then come on down. All right. So now sit and clasp your hands. And then put your whole palm together. And then stop putting your palm together and let a soft space come into your hands. And then put them back together, the heels of the hands. I want you to feel like, what the energy feels like, what the touch of your hands feel like in these 2 positions. So then open that little shape in your hands that, where you're not touching the heels of the hands, and then touch them again. And then open it. And now, I know you're muted, so you're not gonna be responding to me, but doesn't the energy feel different, right? So when it's closed, it feels hard. Also, it feels strong. And then when it's open, it feels like you can feel the space in there in your hands, and it feels softer, right? So when we do the next one, I want you to be very conscious of the way that shape feels on the inside of your hands. So you're not doing the squeezing together one with your 2 hands. When we do this next one, I want you to be very conscious of what it feels like on that inner hand. The shape you're making, the space inside there. So we're going to go on to forearms. A few of you might need more padding. So, if you're right onto like a tiled floor, you might need to grab a blanket. I have carpeting under my mat, so it's okay for me to just go right down. But so you're going to be on hands and knees, and then you're going to clasp your hands. And I want you to make that soft, open shape inside of your hands. Don't push the heels of the hands together, but allow for that soft, open space there and feel it. Squeeze your triceps in. Allow for the openness in your hands. I mean, they're completely clasped. The fingers are completely clasped. Triceps in. Now, if you can, turn your toes under and lift your thighs. You lift your knees and leave your head off of the floor. Feel the shape your hands are making, and then come back on down with your legs. Actually sit all the way down. So you could sit comfortably all the way down. So when you lifted your legs, could you keep part of your brain in your hands at all? It's hard, right? Because there's all this other stuff going on. Now, you clasp usually one way. Do the one that you don't normally do. And then set up again where your forearms are down. Bring your elbows right under your shoulders. Don't let your elbows be wider than shoulder distance. Feel that open shape inside of your palms. Squeeze your triceps in. Leave your head off of the floor. Lift your thighs, lift your knees. Keep your triceps firm. Observe your hands. What's the shape feel like? Don't let your elbows go out wide. Hold your triceps in. Make sure you're breathing. And then come on down. Good. It looks good. It looks good. Okay, so Kent and Leslie, you might need to rest. And so as we go in the next one, if you guys need to rest shoulders, then you could lay with legs up wall instead. So you don't want to irritate, you know. But so then if you can, in the next one, you're going to do your first interlock. You're going to do everything as you have, and then you're going to see if you can lower your head down onto the floor just inside your hands. I think you guys know you don't need me to demo this, I think. So go ahead and start. And place your elbows under your shoulders. Do not let them travel past that line. So you have to hold your triceps in. At first, you can have your head off of the floor. Lift your legs. And then see if you can just lightly touch your head down. Make sure you're breathing. Can you still feel the shape of your hands? And then come all the way down. All the way down. Rest. If you can't be on your knees, of course, you have to change your positioning. But then take your second interlock, the one you don't normally do, and do it again. Keeping your elbows underneath your shoulders. Do not let your elbows travel out. You have to hold firm in triceps. When you're ready, lift your legs. Make sure you're breathing. And then lower your head down. Now, Riley, you don't need to look at me, but bend your knees and take your back heart towards your front heart. Better. Yes. Yes. And then come on down. There you go. Yeah, Mary Wilson, your feet were too far back. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay, so sit in wide legs, and this time we're going to see if we can go a little wider with the legs. So just challenging the distance that you can reasonably take out wide, of course, sitting on a blanket if you need to, and the two legs down. Good. So keeping your legs really grounded, see if you can come forward a little bit between the legs. And so that's it, yeah, like that. Really press your legs down, heels down, calves down, thighs down, buttock bones down. Toes straight up. Don't let your feet fall back. Good. And then keep up. Help your legs with your hands, bend them, and come to Dandasana. If you can easily take Baddha Konasana. We're going to go back out wide. So challenging a little bit the angle that you can, but really pressing your legs down. Don't let your feet fall back. Point your toes straight up. And then see if you can come forward a little bit. And now this time, you know, variety of movement in the class. So some of you can come forward more and you could come down to your forearms, but then a lot of us need to stay up. So just making sure that you're working in a reasonable range. Breathe. And then up you come and help your legs with your hands and go to cross legs. And then come forward where the knees are very comfortable, low back is very comfortable. And then up and change the fold of the legs. And forward again, just in this area that's really reasonable for you. But don't overdo it. All right, and then up. Now sit comfortably, and I am going to demo this next one. So I'm going to stand with my legs wide and bring my head down. And a few of you will put your head right on the floor. And most of us will need to stack up a bolster with blankets on it to make a high prop for the head. So let me just demo it. I might have to show you front and side. So I'm starting with putting some stuff down. That'll be for my head. And then when I stand, I'm going to go out wide, tightening hamstrings forward, quads back, and then the hands come down under shoulders, legs really stable. And then I bend my elbows and put my head down. Now let me just turn sideways so you can see maybe a little bit more of the alignment. So I go down. Now my hands are forward first because they're under my shoulders. Hips are still over heels. And then when I bring my head down, my hands come back a little more towards my feet and elbows back. Okay, so you might need to make this fairly high, and then when you're ready, stand and take your 2 feet out. And first, we're just gonna stand and tighten up the legs. So hamstrings compacting and quads compacting. Outer legs suck in. Good, and then hands to hips. Keep your legs sucking in like that. Come forward and lower the fingertips just under the shoulders. Arms straight, legs straight. Keep compacting your hips in. That's it, good. And then bend your elbows and walk your hands back and see if you can put your head down on whatever pad you made there. And it might need to be folded up higher because that happens all the time. So yeah, keep breathing, and keep squeezing your hamstrings forward, your quads back, and your hips in. And then look forward and straighten your arms. Shimmy your feet towards each other a little bit. In fact, bend your knees and look up with your chest. And then stand with your legs bent, and now just get out of that wide distance. Take a little rest. We're going to do it again. It looks good. It looked really good. So a little bit of a rest for your legs and your energy, and then when you're ready, you can go out wide again. Tighten the hamstrings and quads, outer hips, and then come forward with the legs really straight, fingertips onto the floor, straight arms if you can. And then the hands come down, the elbows bend back, and your head comes down onto your setup. And then that's it, yeah. Now, Mary R, try to take your feet wider. There you go. Everyone, quads back, hamstrings forward, outer hips in. Make sure you're breathing. And then we're going to go to straight arms, forward with the chest. Heel toe in a little bit. Now, if you need to bend your knees to stand, that's fine. If you could come up with a straight leg, you can. So whatever feels reasonable in your back, and then you can get out of that wide stance. Good. Okay. Come down to ground, take a blanket. If you've got 2 blankets, let's use them. If you only have one, that's fine. If you've got to, just fold one, that's going to be for your head. And your second one, you're going to grab the rolls or the folded side and roll it, and we're going to lay over this. So I've got it, the roll for my middle back, my upper middle back. I'm going to put my shoulder blade there, lay down with the arms out, legs bent. Optional to have a blanket under your head. If you've got two blankets, just use that one under your head for this first one. So roll blanket at the upper middle back, you got it. Yeah, arms out. There's a tendency to kind of try to lift away from the blanket setup, so it just let yourself rest into it, and then really relax your jaw, your belly, your chest, and then optional leg positions at this point. So if you want your legs straight, that's fine. If you want simple cross legs or Baddha Konasana, that's fine. Just where you can relax. Let your jaw recede. Soften the belly. Feel your breath. All right, and then rolling over to your side, sit yourself up. Okay. Take your two blankets, and I have on this size, and stack them on each other. And then if you have a bolster, you're going to take it to the back of your setup. So I have, this is the folded side of the blanket. The folded side is stacked neatly. This is the fringe side, and then I put the bolster there. If you don't have a bolster, you could do this with pillows or even a block. I mean, I just want it to be a little bit higher right here. If you have, we're going to do a little mini sort of shoulder stand work. So if you have more blankets and you want this to be 3 blankets, that's fine. I just have 2 out, and I know that's going to be fine for me. So I'm just looking at your setups. Yeah. So sometimes when I'm practicing at home, if I don't have like all the perfect yoga blankets, I use like big towels and stuff too under this. Like you can use anything to get that height for a shoulder stand setup. It doesn't have to be like these yoga blankets. Okay, so then what I'm going to have you do is you're going to sit on the bolster or the pillow and lay back so that your head goes to the ground and your shoulders are on your blankets. And I am going to come over and look at you guys. So go ahead and start sitting yourself back there. And so the head goes to the ground, shoulders go to the blankets, and your legs could be bent. So this is why it's really nice when I can see you guys, and when you're in with the other teachers, if you can position your cameras so that we can see you on your mats. It's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect, but yeah, thank you. All right, so then from here, Let's see if I can start getting you to bring your arms more under you. So you're going to bring your hands kind of on the bolster like that, by your hips. You lift your hips up a tiny bit and start walking your arms towards each other, and they don't get very far, but at least they're like not way out at the sides. Yeah, so you're understanding what I'm saying. So you're trying to get your arms a little bit more at kind of at your back body. And for some of you, it's almost like you can start sitting on your arms. Yeah. Yeah. Good. Now let yourself relax. Now let yourself soften. And so you could let your hands come out a little bit. You could rest down your chest a little bit so you're not having to, get your arms under you so much anymore. And your head is still back and your throat is open. If you can't comfortably rest there, then of course you have to roll over. Good, and now see if you can get your arms under you again. So you're just gonna work your arms under you. Some of you might clasp your hands, and before you lift up and do anything else, I just want you to really start to pin the upper right arm under you, and then pin the upper left arm under you. So instead of trying to move your hands and wrists, I want you to think of your upper arm bones and the big muscles, the fleshy part of your upper arms, and that's where you're initiating the movement. And then see if you can undo the clasp of your hands if they're clasped. Turn your palms to face the pillow or the bolster and sit on the back of your wrists and hands. So you're pinning your upper arms under you, and then you trap your arms with your hips. So for a few of you, it'll be like your rib cage is actually sitting on the arm bone for a few of you. And for most of you, it'll be like your hips are sitting on your wrists and hands. But really try to get that upper arm under you. Yeah, yeah, I know it's slippy because you're on the blankets and your arms don't really want to do that. Now, if you need to undo this, of course, shoulder surgeries recently or injuries, of course, you need to rest the arms as needed. So those of you that need to slide the arms out do. But then those that are okay here, see if you can bring the weight of your hips down onto the pillow and bend your knees towards your chest and just draw your legs in and just be there. Don't flip over or anything like that, but just pull your legs in and breathe. And then while your legs are bent, put your feet back down on the floor. And we're gonna take a Setu Bandha. Lift your hips. Get your arms more under you. Squeeze your upper arms towards one another. Sit back down onto your hands. Push your hands down and draw your knees to your chest. Make sure you're breathing. And then put your feet back on the floor. Setu Bandha again. Get your arms under you more. And then sit on your hands and draw your knees to your chest. And then put your feet on the floor. Good, now let's undo it and slide the arms out. Slide your shoulders to the floor towards your head side. Just push from your feet and slide till your shoulders come down. Fold the legs on the pillow and relax. Just like a little resting Setu Bandha. Any arm position, just soften. And then roll over and sit up. All right, so you could see what I was trying to get you to do, right? I was trying to get you to work your arms under, get your legs in towards your chest, and then get your arms under you, and get your legs in, and get your arms under. And it's like, you know, you got to really just work on it. It's like, you know, you do it, and then you do it again. So what I'm gonna suggest is a few of you are ready to go over into Halasana or potentially all the way up into shoulder stand, but you absolutely don't have to. You know, at this point, if it would be better to just work on getting your arms under you, that's fine. I'm gonna do it quickly. So we go in same way. I'm working my arms under me, and then those of you that are ready, when you sit down, you're gonna see if you can get a little momentum over. And then you could go to Halasana, you could go to a baby Halasana where you don't even have your feet down and get your arms under you. If you want to go all the way up, you can, or you could certainly just stay in Halasana. Okay, so lots of options. You don't need to go all the way over. Those of you that want to can. So you start same way, sitting hips on bolster, really working arms under you. And so some of us are just going to work on this part where we're getting the arms in and bringing the knees up and then going back to the Setu Bandha. Those of you that want to try swinging the legs all the way over, you can. But remember, your shoulders need to be on the blankets in the right place where you're not just sliding your shoulders all the way to the floor. So if you want to just work on getting your arms under you, that's fine. You don't have to swing the legs all the way over. If you want to go to Halasana, if you want to put your hands on your back and go up into Sarvangasana, you can. If you're trying to swing over and that's hard and not coming, then I think it's better to work on the one we just were working on. Make sure you're breathing. So if you're working on it, you go back to Setu Bandha, lift your hips, get your arms under you, and then when you're ready, you bring your knees towards your chest. If you're going all the way up, make sure your shoulders didn't slide down to the ground. If they did, you need to start over. Everyone breathing. Looks really good, everyone. Nice. And then carefully come down. If you're in Sarvangasana, come down carefully. And if you're in Halasana, roll yourself down. If you're doing the prep, carefully come down. Just like we did before, slide to your head, shoulders to floor. Rest the legs on the bolster, either cross legs or just draped to shoulders down to the ground though. So it's like this little resting Setu Bandha. So this is my level 1-2 class. I do teach some of the headstand and shoulder stand modifications in this class. So we always have to work within our own range. Everyone did great. So from here, you could do a Supta Baddha Konasana if you like, or you could go straight to Shavasana. So if you're feeling like you just want to lay yourself right down, you could be in Shavasana now. If you know Supta Baddha Konasana is healing for you, then you would set up the bolster behind you. I'll do it in case you don't know it. I prefer the version with my blanket rolled in around my legs because it helps me to relax more. For Supta Baddha Konasana, I have the bolster behind my spine, the blanket for my head, the long rolled blanket around my legs, arms out, either here or Shavasana. So where you're feeling your body, your energy is directing you. So if you're doing Supta Baddha Konasana, your hips are on the floor. You don't sit on the pillow, you sit on the ground. Make sure you have enough underneath your head that your neck is comfortable. So you probably need a blanket under the head. So then either staying here or coming into Shavasana. If this feels deeply comfortable, you can stay, otherwise lay yourself down flat. The jaw soften and receive. The eyes receive. Allowing the face to broaden and relax. Now, because we're at home, you can stay here if you like for as long as you like. You feel like you're ready to come out of Shavasana, take your time. A number of you will just stay and rest for as long as suits you. That's fine. Namaste. Thank you for being here. Thank you for everything.